I was muted the whole time I was talking. That's fun. Anyway, I have my hero models to the left. They all need a little more work, but nothing crazy. But I'm gonna do. I got like probably 30 models in front of me, different models and size bases and stuff that I'm gonna be working on, and we're gonna do some effect work. Uh, I pretty much did all of the grime, a lot of it already, so everything has a coat of um, yeah, everything right now already has basically the colors I want to use. Um, colors I want to use. Oh, I'm just checking my lights. I feel like it's not bright enough. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So it's a dark brown base. It's a few different pigments that were watered down to make kind of like a pigment left down, and then we just did a quick coat of gloss varnish to get a wet look on everything because we want a jungle vibe. We want the moistness of the jungle. So that's kind of what we're going for here. So that's all stuff I kind of did off camera because really wasn't anything to look at. Here's my solar. We're starting to work on it. What I want to do here, because I believe this is partially a chaos, like Warhound, or not a Warhound, but like the War Dogs, maybe. They're like armatures. I believe that's what this is supposed to be. Some sort of like robot. Anyway, my thought now is basically we're just going to have this robot be down and dead in the jungle, in the mud, so it's rusted to hell. It's going to be a little moist, and we're going to have vegetation growing out of it. I have a bunch of stuff that we can use. But the first thing I really want to do is I want to do some puddles. So we got a new bottle of Vallejo Diorama FX Still Water. This is a water texture. This is different than the stuff I use a lot, which is the wave texture. This is meant to be poured and not brushed on. And you're supposed to cap off. This stuff is pretty thin, which is not a bad thing. We can use a brush with it, which I will be doing. But you can also pour this stuff, and it's basically the same thing as like a liquid resin, but you don't have to cure it. It'll just dry, and it dries clear, which is nice. So I basically just add 1 drop of camo cloak from Speed Paint. That's from the series 1. This is a very good cloak, a very good color, and what I'm trying to do here is make a green tinted water. I might need 1 more drop, but let's. A brown wouldn't be bad in here too, but the point is to have it look a little translucent too. We don't want it to be full opacity because I don't, we're looking for more like water puddle, not like full mud puddle, which we could do also if we wanted. Let's see. Actually, might need 1 more drop. Let's see. This might be good or bad. Worst case, we can add more texture if we need the texture paste or effect paste, whatever you want to call it. All right, that's a little better, a teeny bit darker. So I'm just going to place this in certain spots, and it's thin, but it's also thick enough to actually to be able to be dropped off the edge of the brush, which is kind of nice. It's gonna spread a little bit, but not anything too crazy, which is not the worst thing. If it runs a little bit off the side of the model, that's okay. We can always come back in later with another oh, that's why my camera's not right. I'm sorry. That's a problem. I'm just like looking at all my settings like, why is it so dark? It's like I can barely see anything. Apologies. Okay. So yeah, there it is. So the puddle's right there. It ran a little bit to the edge here, but that's okay. If I needed to really make sure to stick it, I would go for more of the cured resin because that does stay in place and you can play with it a little bit more. But for this project, I didn't really feel like getting out my... I don't think we need the resin. I think this effect is good for what we're looking for. This will dry clear. Everything is already has a kind of glaze to it. So we're just gonna... It's gonna have this kind of muddiness to it. For Yarick's base. Because again, Yarick and some of the new models like Graves, Cadians, like these guys are all technically in like the fall of Cadia almost. Like it's you have to try to translate them if you want to keep them on the bases. So we really have to do a whole lot to their sculpted bases to make it look like they might be in a jungle. So this is something that helps. Vegetation is gonna sell it. I be honest, the mud and all the grime and the rust, it's all good stuff. Puddles are good, but the vegetation that we're gonna add is really gonna be what sells it. If you need to ever do like muddy puddles, this is actually better than this product is a little bit better than using regular cured UV resin because it's it works a little bit better, and when it dries, it's just gonna take on whatever paint you put on it. So what I also recommend, if you really want to do pure really good puddles, try to get some craters. So either the way you can do it is you can build up your base a lot and then dig out holes in the base before it dries, and that'll make some natural looking craters, which then can you could put the texture right into. But these puddles, again, they're really, they don't look like a whole lot right now, but they will once everything is done with the base. It's just one element that we're adding, and also not every model's getting them too. The infantry are not getting. I'm not going through 120 models to do puddles. It's not happening. But some of them I wanted to add a little bit too. Okay. And then of course we got to give a solar. Yeah. You can also kind of like let it blob a little bit on top. That'll also work nicely. So for solar, I want to do a little bit in here. Like I kind of actually had an accidental drop here, so, you know, whatever. If I have to, I can cover that back up later. But I just want to add, again, adding around the base, just showing the, you know, the wetness of the jungle. You can also use this as another layer of kind of like a gloss in a way to give yourself the shine and the real like look of what wet, you know, wet ground looks like. This will all be good. This stuff doesn't take too long to dry, which is nice too. But we're gonna kind of go between a few different things here. So I'm not gonna go between basing and like doing some finer detail work. So I'm not really too concerned about that, like me messing with it too much. These Ogren, I just want to give these Bullygrin. Yeah, Ogren. I just want to give them a few of them some puddles, just to get, because they're bigger bases. So why not? Like we have an opportunity to give them something. Now again, the more I get down here, I mean, I guess it's something. So it looks better when it's pooling in on certain bases more than others, but I think it's a decent. And then we have a flight stand base, so I'm actually gonna pour onto the flight stand base. All right, so that's like half the bullet grin. That's pretty good. It's working. So yeah, with this, so I'm just gonna, again, which is nice about this stuff, it's acrylic base, so I don't have to worry about my fingers. I can just pour. I'm just gonna make a little drop here, a little bit more. Now again, when it's on top like this, when it's a larger spot, you see how it literally just looks like a rounded, a liquid that's on top of this base. So we do need to spread it a little bit and break the surface tension a little bit to make it look like it's on the base a little better. But I don't mind it having an actual defined rim, because what I'll end up doing is put my foliage around it and make it look like it's a larger, maybe even like a pond. I mean, you can do a few things. We can also, which actually I'm thinking about doing, I'm going to pour it all into this spot. This is something that I would do with my other texture paste. I'm going to bring it right to the edge and then make it look like it's a larger, I guess, body of water. Like larger in a sense. It's still a puddle. So you can just bring it right up to the edge. It's going to have some grab to it, which is nice. So even if you bring it to the edge, it's not going to just spill over the side because of the acrylic base and the mediums that are in here. It has some grip to it, which is cool. So it actually will stay where you put it as long as you have something for it to grab onto. This is like a mud texture on the bottom, so there's a ton of grit in this base. But so we don't want to move it too much and have it spill over. If it does, it's no big deal, but I like the way it is. I got no bubbles. This is decent. Still water is still water in a sense that it's gonna dry completely smooth, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And I don't have to cure it, so I'm just gonna gently move it off of the area. Hopefully it doesn't spin, and just kind of let it dry. Have my fan going, and that's that. All right. Let's see how the yard is doing. I don't really want to mess with him. I just want to let that dry for a minute. So for basing materials, what we got for today, we have a few different grasses, and here I go wide. A few different grasses, and like some laser cuts. So some of the real actual leader models are going to get laser cut plants, and yeah. And then I'm gonna have to some of these are bigger. Some of these like products are a little big, so I might have to either cut or like rip to get smaller. But I don't want like large chunks of grass though, because that's not really that realistic to a jungle. There shouldn't be that much grass in there. There's not enough like sunlight coming down usually past the foliage. Let's start. Let's work on. Is he gonna move? It's pretty sticky. That's good. I'm just gonna work on my Lord Solar for a hot sec. There's some things I gotta do. We really didn't do a whole lot to him when we started painting. Unfortunately, I was kind of lost, and once I got his camo cape done, I decided that was where the direction we were going. I realized I just got to come back and do a few things. So I'm just going to get out. I'm going to work on a few quick, simple highlights to just give myself some detail to look at. I'm just going to work on a grayscale of a dark gray into a lighter gray on my palette. And nice number one. Oh man, I need some water on my palette's bone dry. Oh my. Yikes. Not good. Not good. Surprise. I guess I just haven't been paying attention to it recently. Yeah, I've been painting from one side, so maybe that's what it's been. This thing needs some help. Alright, whatever. Anyway. Enough to get through this, at least. Hey. Sorry. I literally had to flip my palette upside down. You know what it was? My palette's on a bit of an incline, so all the water has been working its way down to the bottom of the palette, so when I flip it around to use the other side, it's bone dry. It's all good. Easy to fix. Alright, so just some grayscale here. I'm just gonna work the tail a little bit. Side of the brush. Just gonna hit some of these higher ends of the tail hair. There is some spots that I missed earlier when I was base coating days ago. That's okay. Fix it all now. Very light edge here. And then we will get out, get a lighter gray. And then we'll take a dry brush to that when we're done. Next, I just want to hit a few other spots here. When you're doing this, you can just focus on the strands that are at the top. You don't have to do every single one of them. You're never going to see them all. You just kind of pick your battles on what you want to highlight. My transfer of paint, I mixed them together. For this under, we kept this black, so I'm just going to give some simple general lighting highlights. Just give myself some contrast. So we'll start with a dark gray towards the middle of his kind of like, whatever this is, the cloth that is wrapped around the living part of the animal. Because most of these things are robot. And then we'll just work in some lighter grays. What I really should do is, while I have these, I have to replace these colors on a better part of my palette. I'm going to do all the commissar cloaks, because they all need to be done. So we can do that next. But at least get this guy here. Even something like that simple, just like slight little feathering, and actually want a little more water in there. Little touches, stippling with almost like a glaze consistency. I get a pretty decent transition. It's subtle, but it's, you know, it's something. If you ever have too much, just use your fingertip. You can dot it. You can take some paint off. Just don't smear it, you know. Just like poke it a little bit, very lightly, and that'll almost blend it a little bit. All right. It is decent. I still have more to do with him, but he's just by far the hardest model in this army to figure out has been the solar, because normally I haven't painted a normal solar in forever. I just keep proxying them because I hate this model. So I think my creativity has waned for the old solar. Oh god, alright. I'm gonna be right back. I need to get just a little water for my... you care to see how you can kind of, hey, what's going on? We're working on finishing up some of these guard that I've been working on for a few days here, and I'm trying to resuscitate my wet palette because I forgot how dry it is. So normally I have a little tattoo bottle, like one of these guys, and I'll just spray the whole thing down, get it really saturated. But I let this, I guess I gotta check I think the rims of my palette are a little, they got some paint in them. I don't have my airtight seal on it, and I think that's, oh yeah. Oh my god. That's rough over there. Yeah. Alright, this is good enough. Let's throw the same paper down, whatever. And then what I'll do is I'll just do one more underneath. Go down wet. And then use a paper towel if I need to I don't need a whole lot here, so I'll just use this palette. Alright, so our puddles are looking better, I can already tell. So what's nice about the Stillwater product is it's gonna dry the same way as you basically put it down. And I think it's about dry. It's a teeny bit tacky, so I'm gonna hold off from it. I hit this with some water, that's why it's wet. It's a little tacky, but I'm gonna let it dry. I'll try to, like, if it's something blatant, I try to fix it right then and there. Like just a little water on your brush usually can get rid of that if it's like paint. If it's something a little more annoying to get rid of, like overspray of an airbrush or a particular, like a black or something that has a ton of pigment on it, I would try to get most of it off, and if I can't get everything, I'll either go back and fix it. But you know, in this army, we have like, to do this on speed, we had a lot of planned mistakes. So let's try to find one that's like obvious. And what I mean by my DSP, what I mean by that is I really didn't paint a lot of the feet on these guys. Like a lot of them I just kept green. I didn't paint every boot because I had like 130 infantry to paint at the end of the day. So all I did was I left them, which you could see as a mistake, but then what I did after was I basically just kicked up mud on them. They were going to get covered in mud and dark brown anyway, so that's just like a planned one that I would do. And then just more and more weathering on top. It looks like you meant to do it, even though you might have either forgot or planned to not have to do it. But yeah, I try to fix it when I can. I mean, there's some like, we're going to work on some of these hero models that I just like straight up missed some colors on, so that will be more of like end of the paint job process, but I guess it kind of depends. But for your own sanity, you might want to try to hit things when you know they're happening, like fix them while you're painting. It might just help you for your workflow at the end, so you're not having to like fix too much. Also, a lot of things get really, if you're going to use anything like an oil wash, I use oil washes all the time. It's mainly what I use, just no matter if I'm painting grimdark or not. The super high like pigment that gets deposited in the recesses, it will hide pretty much any of your like mistakes that you made on the edge. Like a Space Marine shoulder pad, like this guy, his you have to really get in close, but like that red is not touching the trim perfectly. And it's not a big deal because when I put the wash over it, the wash will run right into the edges of this pad and it'll be a dark recess, so I don't really care that I don't have paint exactly up to the edge there. Now, if it's more blatant, I don't know if I did it on this side. No, I did actually a pretty good job. Sometimes I'll have like actual missing parts of paint like right by the edge. That's a little bit more difficult. You probably should go back in and cut that in if you possibly can, if you remember. But the simple things that, like, again, you probably can't even see, but like there's a very thin line of blue in between the red and the trim. It's like that stuff you're not going to be able to see. Even when you wash it, you still won't be able to see it. Anyway, I'm going to pull all of my models that have been deemed commissars, which are, for this army, anything that has basically a black leather cloak. I'm going to pull these all up to the front, and I'm going to do some work with them really quick. Make sure I have them all. The scouts, I think I might do a camo on them, but I haven't really decided. So really what I'm going to do here is, all I did was I base coated these guys in black. They're just base coated, all the cloth in black. I didn't do anything to them, and I just washed them down. There's only a few of them, so I knew that I would just take my time when I was done to work on any of the actual cloth. So they're a black. I'm going to come in with a dark brown, gray black. Sorry, like this is black gray Vallejo, and I'm just going to reestablish where I'm going to put my higher lights. And you will at this stage, because they're basically the same color, you can't tell, but I just like to reestablish. Also, I'm going to be glazing, and I did not varnish these models yet. So any leftover oils that were on here that weren't cleaned off, which there's going to be a few, the thin down glaze does not take well. It will not stick well to the model. So if you're doing heavy washes with oils, which is a very, very good technique and a great way to paint, it's never a bad idea, if you like the way they look, to just hit them with a little matte varnish. It gives you a little bit of layer in between the dried oil, like the pigments of the oil, and the I think I can't remember, not the mineral, it's whatever the linseed oil, or whatever the oil that they use as the binder of the pigment. Like, it doesn't take well to like thin glazes, which we're doing cloaks here. We're going to be doing a glaze. So this is another way. I didn't varnish these, but me doing this one extra step here of just throwing a little bit of, reestablishing some of these spots, I think it'll be fine. And if it's not, I'll just I'll hit it quick with the airbrush with a varnish. I usually take them outside with a Rust-Oleum like spray can and just hit them real quick. Gonna put these guys to the side. I'm repainting things already. It's good. Graves is like an interesting model. Actually, I got that. Here's a trick. I forgot to paint that completely. That should be a metallic, so we'll have to deal with that later. Not the biggest deal, though. Let's do his cloak also. Yeah. Graves is definitely an interesting model. It's like, he doesn't really have a lot going on, on the specific model, but it's cool because he gets his own transport mount, so he's 100% worth it just for that. This thing is sick. I also got to do. I have him out to actually work on him too, because everybody else in the bang bus here is ready to rock, but I didn't do anything on him, so I just want to give him some glazing, and same thing. I didn't paint that. I don't know. I gotta look up the actual the art real quick and see. I also missed this cable. Ay. I was rushing, obviously. Some things like this, if you miss painting like the cable going into his power glove, like it's okay. Like a cable that are the smooth ones, not the corrugated steel cables. They don't take a wash anyway. Like the wash just runs right off of them if you're washing. So it's like who cares if you miss that step, especially if you're going to be doing highlights. Like it's going to look exactly the same. The really things that you want to make sure you don't miss are like leathers. Like leathers take wash the best, some of the best at least. Armor, like anything that's lighter that's going to have a recess on it. Like those are the things you kind of don't want to miss, because that's really hard to fix at the end without really just redoing all the steps. We got our big Bully Grim here. He's a cool model. He's like a proc. These are all proxies from the Heroes Infinite Lost in the Jungle set. We didn't really want to do. The customer didn't really want to go with the GW stuff, so we found some cool proxies. I really like this set. There's some fun stuff in it. I use it for my Catachan sometimes. It says cool, big ass camo shield. Like, it's just fun. A fun model. Need do a little more work on his skin, but nothing crazy. And then we got Lunch Lady Creed. Should have did a brown leather for her, but black's fine too. So give a little bit of this. Also got to do a little. I want to do a little glazing on some of the swords too. I already did like the power node, but I need to do a little bit more. Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Is that it? Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. I don't want to. I'm trying to not miss anything if I can. All right, so I have my dark gray, and I have basically a mid-tone, like neutral gray, and I'm just gonna go 1-to-1 on the palette. Pretty simple. So I have the two colors here. I'm mixing them down here. So I'll come to like this step, and then I'll just have a wet brush, not actually dropping water into this mix. I'll just come at it like this. This is pretty good consistency. And then just hitting the same areas. We can go light with this because it's gonna show up. But again, we're not doing a true glaze to a grayscale because that's not how like the black leather really looks. That's if you were doing like actual gray capes. So you really don't want to go too far into like a neutral gray. You want to keep it pretty dark. It needs to be reflective too. So there's a few, like I think it looks better reflective is what I should say. So I will, on the highest highlight, put a tiny drop of gloss medium, or sorry, gloss varnish. You can use gloss medium too if you have it. I don't know why you would have that product, but you more often would have a varnish possibly. And I'll put a tiny drop in and I'll do my highest highlight like that. And it gives me a little bit of a shine because I think if you're trying to relate a black leather, I think it looks pretty good with a shine instead of it just being matte. And since we're not, at this point, I'm not varnishing them, which I don't know if I'm going to regret or not, but regardless, I think there's enough going on them. The problem is I already varnished the bases, so I can't take them outside and do the old Rust-Oleum to it because it will take down it'll cover up my gloss varnish on the bases with matte, and then it won't look wet. Like I got a good wetness going on, kind of where I want it to be before I do foliage. Because with foliage, I'm gonna keep probably as is. I have some leaves here that I want to do, like a jungle kind of like foliage leaf at the end. I could wash those down. I might. I don't know. They don't take the best. It's the material they're cut from. They're these kind of leaves. So I'll do like a mix of these three. tiny, tiny, tiny bit of the red. I don't even know if I'm going to use the red. It might be a little too clashy. I might just do like heavy this color with a little bit of mix of this. But these leaves don't take the best. They don't like absorb the wash the way you might think they do. So I don't know if it's even worth it to take the extra step. If anything, I will just hit them with a varnish at the end if I want them to look wet. And get his hand a little bit. A little here. A few highlight spots. Nothing crazy. Yeah, he's got the largest, like, you know, cloak out of all of them. So he's definitely gonna get him a little bit of varnish. I think of other things just need to be done. Edge highlights, possibly. Do some skin real quick. Just gonna go. I already did one pass, so I'm just gonna hit it quick with a barbarian flesh, which is a a lighter skin tone. I'm gonna get out a 0, a 00, something that's just got a nice tight tip to it. Gonna just hit the nose. A lot of the faces, when they turn like this way, they have a big like jawline that comes down. It's always a good spot to hit when you're doing faces because you can see it easily. The chin and the lips are also good spots if you're not fussing with eyes. Does this guy have a freaking go? Oh, there it is. I thought he had a monocle for a second. I was like, oh man, I missed the monocle too. This is a pale skin. So I have a few different mixes of skin tones here. This guy's a paler, so I'm not going to use that color for him. This guy has the Caucasian skin. Grays are kept the same. So this side he's looking this way. So same thing. Maybe we just want to drag. And what I'm really doing here is I'm just taking this paint almost to a glaze consistency. So like barely visible. And then you can just take this. You even have to swipe if you're feeling about it. You can just touch the side of your brush to the parts in the face, as long as you have it thinned to glaze or not even glaze consistency. It's gonna dry transparent. So even if you like mess up and put it in the wrong spot, you can just put a few different layers of it and it'll be fine. Yeah, that he's good. I did him before, but Creed needs a little work. This is the hardest thing to paint when you're filming, because I want to put my face next to the model when I paint. I gotta get some glasses, I think. Like the zoom-in glasses. See if I like them. I don't know if I will or not. Top of the hand. Again, Creed nose. For her face, the simplest to do is her nose. This cheek, and then if you can get her chin, go for it. But that's enough detail that even if you get up close, you do if you worked in sort of a grimdark or even a high contrast scheme, it'll be easily readable and you won't have to worry too much about it. That's why the burgundy mixed in with like a dark rose, which is like a skin tone, like a darker skin tone. It's a fantastic base coat because it adds a lot of like just general contrast to the face. Yarick, I gotta do those teeth, but I will not do that for you because I need to get next to it to pick out those teeth. He's a little paler, and that's actually fine. I don't mind it. Did him, so I just gotta get this guy here. So for him, I have this barbarian skin. I'm just gonna mix a little gray into it. Honestly, I don't really want to pull out the other color, so I'll just do what I got. So this is this comes from red gray. This is red gray from Pro Acryl that this is based in, which is an amazing skin tone for Grimdark. It's like a flushed pale skin, and you can highlight it with mid-tone grays, which is awesome. Really good to use on like vampires. It's a great vampire color. I really like it for fantasy and Age of Sigmar for like medieval style skin. That like sickly peasant skin. I really like that, but I just wanted to do a few different skin tones across the army. Get the solar really quick. Never be afraid to put a little more water than you think, or more whatever thinner you're using. It's likely water to thin these down, because even though that looks like it went on pretty vibrant, it's gonna dry at least one shade down, which is nice. Looking pretty good. Faces look good for guard. They look pretty damn good. I'm not trying to do Picasso level faces. Let's check out our two Cadians, or Kadashan. Decent. He should have been a dark tone, but whatever. But Strachan actually is a lighter skin tone, so actually you're probably fine. Gonna get Arnold here. Just a little bit. I already worked him a few times, a few different passes of skin here, so I'm not really, there's not a whole lot left to do with him. Basically, if you're working large muscles, you basically just focus on the tops. Each muscle's think of it like a cylinder, and you're just hitting the edge of the cylinder that's facing towards the light. That's the easiest way to paint muscles. You just work around, and you just keep layering. If you keep everything in a glaze step, it just takes a few more passes, but definitely comes together. Thunder. It's gonna pour outside. Cool. Not bad. Take it. Few scratches here. It's done also. Cool. This is supposed to be an Iron Hand Strachan, as you can probably tell. Cool. Alrighty. These guys have a bit of a light green mixed in with them because they're supposed to be a little different than these jungle Cadians that I have, but crazy. We have a lady model. She looks okay. She needs a little more work, but alright. I think these guys should be dry enough that we could start basing. Let's see. I think so. Some models look better, like puddles look better than others. Actually. Oh no, it's fine. Okay, it's enough to work with. It's enough to work with. It's tacky. That's fine. I'll take it. I won't mess with it too much. Alrighty. So let's start with probably the real foliage. So we'll go big to small to get ourselves a spot to work with. So I'm gonna pull out these tufts. I have many tufts. I have to use these though, so I'm gonna use them. These are a little brighter than what I would want, but I think it'll be fine. When all is said and done, I think it'll be fine. They have a nice like random pattern to them, so I don't like them. I have no idea where they're from. I think I got these from Temu, to be honest. So they're some Chinese company. It's pretty much all of them, right? All right. So my thought process with our pool is I'm gonna do some grass around it. See, that's tacky. I gotta be careful. When you're doing tufts, yeah, they have stickies on the bottom, but just super glue it down. If you want to save your fingers, tweezers. So yeah, I'm thinking one tuft there. Another tuft there. Right on the edge, even like kind of hiding the border a little bit. Maybe one more. Problem is, it's a flight stand, right? So you got the big actual flight stand in the middle. That's the only issue with a flight stand. But what are you gonna do? It's a Valkyrie. It's like, you can't get around. It's just a weirdly freaking balanced model. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. Okay, those tufts there. I might put one more over here and put this little cluster. And then maybe one more. There. Alright, so that's the first thing. Next, let's get a fern or two. So I have some gamer grass here that we'll try to use. What do we got? Let's go with this one. I bought these a long time ago for my own Catachan, and I don't know. I definitely used some. I used some on my my solar. I had one on, and I used them in some spots, but I didn't go crazy with them. I also have some 3D printed ferns, but we'll see. I got it. They're like kind of like half painted on a sprue. I don't know if I'll use them. Because if I'm using these like laser cut ones, then it's like, why would I? The 3D printed one's it's gonna look a little different next to it. All right, so you do is you kind of like hold the leaf here, and you just kind of roll it, and it'll bend the gamer grass, so it looks like the fern is kind of bent. You could do more when it's on the base, but you're putting a tiny little drop of super glue there, so if you can bend it before you put it down, you won't have to mess with it too much. And then we wanted to bend it this way, so we squeeze the bottom here so the paper bends. I want it to be tight, just like that. So I'm gonna put it probably there. Let's see. Bad. Usually it's nice to put your foliage tight together. It looks like it's a grouping, and it helps like, yeah, I think that's good. We're also like trying to make a jungle motif here, but also not use like one $12 pack of gamer grass per base, because like, a jungle should be pretty lush with foliage. So we're trying to use some of our cheaper materials to help out more expensive ones, because I also straight up run out of gamer grass. I don't have that much. The leaves, we'll do the leaves at the end, just because I want to get some leaves. I don't know if I want leaves on top or not. I thought leaves on top of the water might look nice, but I'm gonna think about it. I think I have some sticks. Let me go my big bag of basing stuff. Stick would look probably pretty good here. Let's see. Oh, so much stuff. So much stuff. I also might. Oh, there's one. Alright, so I got some coconut fiber here, which is pretty good basing material for a lot of things, and it really does work in the jungle. You use it for like dead grass, but a little here and there looks pretty good. So I'm gonna just put this pile to the side. When I do my leaves, I'm gonna do a little bit of that too. I also have some tea that I could use. The problem is the tea is good, like this like type of tea here. Like there's cut up pieces that look like wood chips. I don't know. This stuff is really good if you're gonna paint on top of it. I know, I know. I'm trying to like simulate more of a bush than a grass. It's We're gonna see. We're gonna see. I think I'm gonna have to put some paint on this grass. These tufts here that are obviously grass. I think when we have everything on it, I'm gonna probably have to change these a little bit to make it look more like a bush than a tuft of grass. Because I don't know, a lot of this stuff, depending on the scale you're thinking about, it's like you can make it work both ways, I think, and that's what I'm hoping that I can do. But we'll see. I know it's gonna be tricky. All right, that's good enough for now. We'll probably come back to that guy. I need to get some foliage coming out of our Lord Solar. So I'm going to have some stuff growing out of this base. Let's get a few ferns. I like the ones that look a little more dead, I think, for this. So try not to like rip them too much when I pull them out if possible. Okay. Then what I can also do is I can get my small, very, very small tufts, which I'll need eventually. Do I have any small guys left? Yeah, I could probably get some of those. Just gonna start stuffing these in. So, just a little bit of glue on the back. It's a good spot for one. There. Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. Even like yeah, and grass spam, honestly, if I really wanted to do like a grassland or like an open field, I'd honestly just I'd use tea, really, and I would glue it down beforehand and then paint it. I wouldn't even use like a ton of bushes because I think it there's better looking product out there for that. Try not to get glue all over myself, but I'm already doing a horrible job. So wipe down. One more. There. Okay. Burns. And then real quick. No, no. I do want something coming out of that hole, though, I think. Right. Yeah, come on. Don't do me like that. Alright, that's good enough. I'm gonna leave that there. It's not technically in the ground, but it'll work. I want this big one, I think. That hole. already bending the wrong way here. Come on. Alright. Yeah. Looks decent, I think. It's going in a hole, so I think it'll be okay. Hopefully I bent it enough. That's what I was afraid of. Yeah. Alright, that's... it's not terrible. Alright, I'll take it. Get a little bit of this stuff. I didn't realize I was right. Side a little bit. Alright, so I just have like... I took some of this coconut fiber, I put it together, rolled it, and then like bent it on itself and rolled it again into something like this. Dog hair out of here. Okay. Just stick this again. Now again, some of these materials, organic materials we have going on here might not make too much sense, but I think if I need to, I can stain them a little bit with some contrast if needed at the end. Because that looks like either dead plants. It looks like dead plants or some sort of like, I don't know, like dead bush. There's a few things it could look like. I think if I paint it a little bit later, I think I can maybe give some green. That could help it a little bit. Same thing with these bushes I put in here. I'm thinking about possibly hitting them with a little green too. I want lushness. This is a little more dead looking, but again, it's probably not the end of the world. Considering just between the two different bases we have here. I just don't have enough. I don't have enough lush colored things, I guess. I'll be honest, a lot of times I use tufts, I actually paint over them. Like, I'll put them on the bases and then prime them, and then come back to them later. That did not happen this time around, but it's okay. Alright. Leave him for now. Everyone else, who's going to get some stuff? We can give... should give Creed a little something, something. Let's see. Small tufts I can cut in half, maybe. So I'm just gonna take a tuft here. My clippers. Just gonna right down the middle with it. Not the best tool for the job, but it works. I want to keep it tight like that, just so I get the bottom of it. I think these with a little paint is gonna help. I do. I think I can get away with this. Because that straight looks like bushes. That looks like bushes or long grass that's growing out of this base. I think a little dark green paint and some highlights will make it look like more of an organic bush. All right. Has Graves got any room here? Graves could get a little bit. I guess if I start thinking about these more like they're gonna be painted bushes, then that might help me a little bit too before I place things. And if I even want to place them. Not every base needs this, you know. I just kind of want to hit the characters with something extra because of characters. But we're not here doing a whole army. I think if there's anything else substantial we have to do, that'd be interesting to look at. And all the vehicles, we did a pretty good job weathering them down. Work on these scouts a little bit. And we'll do that. All right, before I put any more grass on, honestly, I'm gonna hold off on it, and I'm gonna wait until my super glue's like dry, and I really want to paint them and see what they look like before I go ahead and start doing more and waste my time. Because I would love to like get these done today. I'm pretty close at least. I think we could do some attaching. All this stuff. Course. That's the problem when you pull out the coconut fiber, it gets everywhere. Whatever. Next time I spray paint, it'll be all over the place. Alright. Leaves are gonna be the last thing we do. Scouts. Do some leather work. Yeah, do some leather work. So I have these kind of already moving up towards the brown sand. So I'm going to get brown sand on the palette. And I think my highest color will be cork. Start from there. And if you don't have brown sand, the Anguillari dust is the equivalent, I believe the equivalent Citadel color, or Warhammer paint now. Whatever they want to call themselves. Fix Corax white, I gotta say. Even though I'll never buy it though, even if I fix it. Horrible color. Trash. Alright, so leather, if you're doing old beat up leather, you can go for a dark brown to a brown sand or even a cork. That will give you a more beaten up leather. So what we can do here is we have it already been dry brushed twice, so we can just give ourselves some scratching here along the straps. We can also do some general swipes as long as we hold our tip. And very subtle, but we didn't thin this. It's out of the bottle like this, so it's gonna show when it's dry. And it'll be subtle little kind of scratches along the highlights, but also just different parts of the leather get stripped. And then we have a few little spots around the model that we can also hit. Who's got another good one? I know some of these guys have good backpacks. Yeah. You can also, like, if you don't know really like what to do with the scratching, just like take the side of your brush and just go along where you think a highlight should be. And if you don't hit every spot kind of like this, when you back up off the model, it will kind of show like you're going for that look of scratching, even if you weren't intentional about it, which is always a nice advantage. Now, again, I'm hitting, I don't know why I'm doing, I don't know why I'm hitting pouches that you can't see. It's just, I think, I'm looking around the model and I'm seeing leather to hit. Try to get the overalls a little bit. when you're doing a glove, you can always just kind of come like this on the edges. Give you, again, what you're looking for. Now, if I really want to put a good gash in, I'll mix this brown sand in with that cork color I pulled out. But I haven't found a spot yet that I need it for. See, that was a little too aggressive there, so I just used my finger. Take a little of the paint off. Try to fix it. You can also just do this. You can just do this as a part of your highlighting. If you have a small dry brush, you could do the same thing. You put the plate. You can paste. Place the paint directly where you want it to be. Use a small dry brush, and you can blend it out into the area. It's a little easier than trying to get like a super small dry brush in a tight spot. This is a decent way of also doing it. The finger also is basically doing the same thing. We're basically pushing the paint, dabbing the paint with our finger, and it's kind of blending it slightly. Do it. But I think I went kind of for this this beaten leather motif, and I think it's nice on the Scout Guard. It's just a little bit of a different brown, and it kind of shows up a little bit different. And it's like a little, even though most times on a lot of the other models we kind of wanted our brown leathers to be more muted and darker, because we really want like the camo and the armor color to shine. But the Scouts have these cool gloves, and it's a little different, and it also separates them a tiny bit. Strap. I see a little too much. Every time I don't wipe enough paint off the brush, it always happens. Also, when in doubt, if you don't know where you should actually be putting your edge highlight, you can always take the side of your brush and just kind of pull it down, kind of like it's a dry brush, the same kind of motion you would have with a dry brush. And it should just catch the edges of the model. Now, it's not the best for your bristles. It's really not. But, you know, if you have a few, like, tighter tipped brushes, you can pull it off, and just don't go crazy, and you won't wreck your brush. I mean, I do this all the time. I wouldn't go too crazy if you are using some of these colors. This brown sand has a good chance of taking away from the mahogany, you know, like tannish, like reddish tan that we have in the camo. They do clash a little bit. So I'm really just trying to keep this tight and just to some highlights, because even when I put it on the top straps, it's one more color to take you away from the camo, you know? So I'm kind of at almost a half, just like thin down to like 2 thin coats application, because I don't want it to be overbearing. Take away from the camo work that I spent 3 hours doing, basically. Right, those are better. I got the skin tones on my palette, so I'm just gonna quick. Things like guard faces, which for painting Cadians, we have to paint a lot of them. Just focus on the nose, the bridge of the nose, the 2 cheeks, and the chin, and you can just move on. It's the only thing you're going to be able to pick out, even when you're table height of a face, so there is absolutely no reason to get involved in like deeper shading and anything like that. Now, if you are painting these for a competition, obviously that's not the right way to go about it, but I paint things to be played with on the table. And if I did paint a competition piece, I'd play with it on the table anyway. Alrighty. Not bad. Those are good. Alright, let's get this guy out real quick. Alright, this is my machine gunner for the back of my Valkyrie. Put him on quick. So I just keep forgetting about it. Oh. So I have to pin the back of the Valkyrie open. Probably glue them on. Bang out. Up, knocking everything over. Up, we're breaking stuff. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Alright. So basically the goal is to have back of the Valk open and then have old machine gunner sitting on the back like that. Let's go for it. Oh. Might. Oh, actually, maybe not. Alright, that's not terrible. I thought I had to get out the instant set, but I think we're cool. So he's on the back, and I just need to pin. I gotta pin the joints. So if you need to pin joints, a few ways you can do it. I recommend starting at the edges of where it's gonna meet, and then basically get them in the position you want. And I hope to God I have my set. No, I don't. Of course I don't. Oh, no, there it is. And then it's already starting to sick, which is nice, but I'm just going to take a little bit of my instant set, paint it right over the corner, let that. Now, she's instantly glued. So yeah, oh, you can't see it. Oh, you can't. You really can't see it. Okay. There it is. So there we go. Gunner at the back of the Valkyrie. Pretty cool. Oh, you can't see it. This is not the right angle, I guess. Yeah, gunner at the back, the Valkyrie, front of the Valkyrie. Got to put the canopy on, but she'll look pretty good. Yeah. Nope. Get out of here. Let's see what she's gonna look like. There we go. Is that the right way? Is it this way? Maybe this way. Okay. Alrighty. So she's on her flight stand. And that's what she looks like. Out the back. Not bad. A little something, you know. Something fun. We like when our models are a little more unique, especially Valkyries, because like I like opening up the back of them a lot and make them look a little more cool than I think they're casted to be. All right. Just gotta. If you have a Hobby Lobby near you, get this super glue. It's $3.99. It's fantastic. It's good super glue. It's a gel based, and yeah, get it. Compared to Gorilla Glue, that's freaking $8 now. Ridiculous. What else? honestly. All right, let's do the leaves, I guess. I really can't think of anything that's like super pressing besides like dumb little details I have to do towards the end. Can I get away with this cup? I don't know. I'm gonna take the Valkyrie off of its stand because it's just gonna fall and break right now. So ways we can keep the leaves on. We could do a few things. I can use that, I guess, whatever. So I have two types of PVA, Omer's glue, and then this guy. This is a thin version. This is PVA mixed with water and IPA. This is a sealant I have just ready to go if I'm ever like need to seal in I don't know, like sand or something to a base. Though I will recommend using wood glue, especially if you're going to be painting over said texture. Wood glue is like it's like bulletproof. You're never gonna have to worry about stuff falling off. And that's what I use now if I'm doing sand. If I'm doing like natural texture on the bases and stuff. Yes, that is the. I will say though, I will say this stuff that I was just showing on the camera does fog, so that is true. And it fogs the more you use this stuff. So just always an idea. But if you keep the one way to try to limit your fogging, which I don't think it's bulletproof or anything, but if you leave it out in the open air to dry, it does seem to fog a little less than if you had it closed in. You also get those when it dissolves and it dries. It has that. I think the vapor in the air. It like can collect and deposit itself around the model, so you get almost dusty look. We don't want that either. So anyway, the easiest way I've found to do a leaf kind of like this is we're gonna get a leaf mix going in a container that I don't have in front of me. I'll have to find. And then we're going to treat it like a texture, a sand, and we're just going to sprinkle it over a spot that we're going to place on the model. Now I have basically a PVA and a watered down PVA. I don't need a whole lot to stick, but what I do need is something that's going to dry clear with not a lot of finish to it. Unfortunately, PVA does have a little bit of a finish to it, so what I might end up actually doing is going over any leaves with a gloss varnish. We'll see how it all dries when it's all said and done. But this is what I recommended first. I did use the cup I used the gel stuff in, but if you use a light dousing like this, right, this will all dry clear. Now, will it have a different finish to it? Maybe. Maybe it will. I think it dries a little sat. My memory. I haven't done this technique in a while. But I'm just going to apply a very thin coat. Really, what I'm trying to do here is just give something for these leaves to stick onto. And I'm really going to try not to mess with them too much. And then when they have enough to stick, when I hit them with the varnish at the end, they should be pretty permanent at that point. I'll be right back. I just need to get a container. All right, so for the mix, we're going to use the mid-tone green the most, and we'll use a little bit of the green. I don't think I'm going to use the red. The red is very strong, and I'm afraid it's going to take away from some of the other work we've already done. So I think it's a little too high in contrast. You know, when you're doing the high contrast painting, you want to make sure your bases don't really take too much from you know, what you got going on. This green is even a little too vibrant. We'll see. Mix it up. We can actually even get some of those. I could do the fiber in here too. I have smaller fiber on hand. I have the like the finer grit stuff. I could mix this in here too. I think this is enough though. So, pretty simple. This is just like we would do any sort of like basing. Just get a little bit of it in here and just kind of sprinkle it on top. You're not going to get every piece of where you put the glue, but that's totally fine. And then just basically give it a little tap tap. It'll pop off any of the excess. And you kind of just put as much as you want. Again, this is the Valkyrie base. It's the largest one. Alright, so once this is dry and set, we'll varnish. And then I'll figure out what we're doing with these bushes because they got to come down a little bit. They are a little jarring. Alright, so a lot of the models are going to get this, so we can kind of do a little bit of quickness here. Speed job. No. Some of these models that have a lot of like rocks and stuff that their footings are on, I'm not gonna put the leaves on them because the leaves probably wouldn't really be sticking to it anyway, you know. So if you do it like this, you can treat it like it's just normal, like any sort of texture. You can just do a quick dip and knock, and then you can do a swipe. Dip, knock, swipe, and you'll have a decent amount. We don't want to go too heavy on it. And some of these that are bigger bases, you can sprinkle. Again, even if you have a large pool of this like watered down paint, it's going to dry clear, so it doesn't matter if you're not like hitting it or covering it up or something like that. This is just excess like stuff we're using for foliage. Now, this will not be enough, like I said before, this will not be enough to hold these on when they're dry. This is just to set them so that you can come over them with a varnish. They will come off. Like, you touch them, they'll come off. Like, it's just the PVA, especially a watered down PVA, is not strong enough to freaking hold on to anything like this, at least. It's just to help us along the way so we don't have to use a different product. Alright. So yeah, I mean, for coming from a base of nothing to like a darker color, there's a whole motor pool of tanks. I'll pull them out in a sec. I got a Bane Blade, a few Russes, a Chimera, Adorn. There's a whole bunch of stuff, but this is just we're just kind of finishing up the infantry now. I do have the Graves Bane bus here, pretty cool. The Bane Blade's too big to put on shot, I'll be honest. I did this earlier. This was fun. I did like a cool I did the rocket from DSP, which is cool. Or not DSP, I'm sorry. Deadly Print Studios. I don't know why I have DSP on the brain today. But yeah, this guy's cool. I think I might do a little bit more on the back end smoke, but I like the fire is bright enough that I'll take it. I think I'll take it, but this guy came out pretty good. The Dorn, we basically matched a lot of the basing work to our treads. So a lot of the same pigments, it's basically a mix of a pigment that we mixed down with water. And thanks. And we basically did all the treads too. The treads might get gloss varnished. I don't know. I don't know if I want to make them look that wet. It just depends. It's an aesthetic choice. I don't know how wet I want these jungle guys to look. I mean, probably gonna end up actually varnishing them. But like we did, where are the new guys, which are pretty cool. We did do gloss varnish here, so that guess would call that would put into call that we'd have to actually varnish them up. But yeah, these guys are cool. We did a whole everything was done in like a Vietnam tiger stripe. That's what we were. That was the plan going into it. This guy came out really good. The other bang bus. He came out good. I like this model a lot. I definitely when I get my my new guys going, I want a few of these. They're really cool, and I want to do some custom stuff inside. Yeah, very cool model. Yeah, they came out good. Vehicles came out good. I like good motor pool for what we got here. I'm probably going to just keep going with these leaves. I'm not gonna put them on every unit, but I'm actually gonna pull out like maybe a big handful of infantry and just kind of put it on. I think it'd be interesting. It's something to break up the army a little bit. Graves can get some leaves on the bottom. Sly Mambo can get some leaves. That's a lot. On the back end here, get some. Who else? Who else is worthy of leaves? Best banner guy. Get some. Cool. Yeah. That was pretty good, I think. Good. Good amount. Now that I'm thinking about these bushes some more, I think what I'm gonna do is actually real quick before I pull out more infantry to do this with. I'm going to attempt to put some contrast paint over them and try to stain these. They are pretty bright in the sense of like they're pretty light green. So I'm gonna get. I have a palette around. Of course not. I'm gonna pull out. There's a light. I'm gonna get out an absolution green or a very dark green. I can actually. I'll start with camo. I'm just going to attempt to stain the bushes a little bit. So when you're painting bushes, if you're painting by hand and you're painting like, this is okay, cool. When you're painting like this kind of not natural foliage, it's hundreds of little plastic or whatever they're made of, like strands coming up. All you have to really do is just kind of go back and forth and let your brush go in and out, and it'll deposit the paint. And really what you're doing is you're just kind of like gently dry brushing almost the blades of whatever the grass is. So now this is looking less like a grass. To sell the bush, what we'll have to probably do is do a dry brush of 2 different greens on top to sell like leaves almost. It is hard because we did put a fern next to it, which now in hindsight, I don't know if that was the best idea. Because now it's like, okay, this is what a real fern looks like, and now I'm trying to sell you a bush that's really grass. So, we'll see. I think it's fine too. You know, we have a few good lighter colors going on with this base, besides the grass. So the lower, darker color, we'll be able to hide it a little bit better too. We'll be able to hide this bush that's not a bush. Lunch lady. Lunch lady looks great with the camo underneath the jacket. I honestly should have did that for more of the models. I didn't know what I wanted to do with like Yarrick and Graves because they're technically commissars, I guess. Well, I don't know actually. Well, no, Yarrick isn't a commissar, but you know what I mean. Commissar-esque. They have that kind of look to them. So I wanted to keep them black, but when I do mine next time, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to keep him Steel Legion. I'm doing like I'm definitely now moving more towards doing the combined arms in combined factions, sub-factions, so I think that's where it's going to take me. Alright, that was the only... Oh yeah, this guy. The Lord Solar. Snooze model here. Yeah, these bushes will... This foliage will look really good when I'm done doing this because I'm going to bring it up with a lot of green. This guy I can't do a whole lot with, this grass I put in here, so all I'll do is just give it a little bit of different color, and I'll hit it with a dry brush when I'm doing the rest of the greens, and it'll just give it a few different kind of shades, I guess, and it should help a little bit. Ferns can't do anything about. Laser cut, they're not even going to take paint, you know? They won't take the contrast paint, it'll run right off. Okay, bushes are solid. Scouts to the side. That I have to glue together to the side. Alright, I'll just get a handful of guardsmen and we'll do some leaves and I think we'll be able to rim her up over a day. We'll get some plasma boys in there. Yeah, anything that I actually spent time working on, we'll give them some leaves. These plasma guys I need a little bit more on, but nothing crazy. They're pretty. They look good though. I think they came out good. For not really even, I gotta paint the coils still, but they look good for, 10 minutes of work. I'm at least happy with them. This is ever the... Basing is a rewarding part of a job. That's like the last step. You're putting your finishing touches usually on, and it makes the models really come cohesive. But it probably isn't the most entertaining thing to watch because again, you're basically just batch painting. So I think next up we're gonna do Tyranids, I believe. I'm waiting for a Norn Emissary to come in the mail from a customer before I do his stuff. It's basically a massive 3D printed Tyranid army that I printed last week, and it has a plastic Norn. But the paint scheme is going to be definitely something unique. I'm going to partner with a content creator on Instagram, the Krakenshire, which if you're following stuff on Instagram, probably seen his stuff. It's all AI concept art, and he has a really, really cool thing that he did for Tyranids, and so I'm going to link up with him on that, try to do some cross promotion, but I'm going to paint... Who did that go? Oh, that's the green. Gonna paint, I think, these guys up. I'm gonna try to take some concept art and bring it into reality. It's gonna be cool. Honestly, it's like this, like, even like almost like silvery, like metallic tier. It's hard to explain the way he, like, the post is, but it's gonna be cool. I think I'm gonna try to like make it look like Blue Eyes White Dragon-esque, maybe. I think it'll be cool. Something different. I need to paint something different. These are very different. I was blessed to have some non-Cadian Cadians, which love to see it. Love to see it. And then after that, I got Vamp Counts, which is going to be great. Doing a whole series on them. It's a massive, massive army of all resin pour ice bases, so that'll be fun. That's going to be a day of pouring resin. And we're going to do some deep resin pours. We're going to do some ice cracks. We're going to have skeletons coming out of like frozen water. It's going to be great. Very cool army. Kind of a fire and ice theme. Kind of. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how I translate it, but that's the idea at least. And then Space Wolves, and also Death Guard. But I needed to take a break from like Nurgle. I've done a lot of it recently, so it's nice to get some different jobs in. And then next month, when I'm finally like not that long, I'm like a video away from monetization. I'm gonna do, once I get my memberships, I'm gonna paint up a big combat patrol of Gene Stealers. Give those away, do like a membership giveaway for those. That'll be fun. We'll paint those next month. Because I can't sell that. I'm never gonna be able to sell that on eBay, so I'll just give it away. No one's gonna want just a random combat patrol of Gene Stealers. I'm running out of leaves. No. Almost done with these guys here. This is just a little bit of leaf work. Yeah, this is probably the better plasma guy that we did. It's pretty good. We're gonna do a little bit of dry brushing here on the edge of the plasma blast, and the coils. But besides that, I think they're pretty good. Pretty ready to rock at least. Ready for battle. Those are from the Deadly Print Studio bundle. Defender of Humanity bundle. Very good. Pretty much every guard effect you could possibly want. This grenade blast is on there. There's a lot of good stuff. The las blasts are pretty good for the las cannon. The las guns. But just be careful, they break very easily. There's such little contact between the gun and the lasma bolt that you know, it doesn't correlate. Doesn't have a lot of glue and surface area for the glue to attach to, so it'll break easy. All right, that's good. That's a sizable chunk of the infantry with some sort of leaf on their base. It'll look good when everything's blended in together. You have some models with just mud, some models with both. I have to let these dry, so I'm going to just slide these to the side for now. I have to hit them all with a varnish to seal them in. Oh, missed some. But yeah, looking very good. Good colors. Pop off the table, which is my main goal anytime I'm painting something. I want you to be able to see it from across the tournament space and know what they are. They just look good, I think. These are definitely the best Cadians I've printed so far, or painted so far, which is always nice. Oh, the Lord Solar. How could we forget you? Tragic. Tragic, tragic, tragic. I don't know if they have enough leaves. He's decent. I think I gotta do a few more things with him till I'm like actually satisfied, but I gotta take a beat on him. I don't know what I'm missing, to be honest. I think I need to do something with the red on him. I have to do something with his trim. His trim needs a little bit of work to get some higher highlights in there or something. There are things to do with him. I think I need maybe like a break just to, like, you know, think about it a little bit more. Also, I'm at the point with him too where like I can at least rim him out, can paint his base rim, and then I can come back to my general thoughts. Yeah. Considering that it was a brown rusted rock before, it's not bad. It's come some way. So really quick, I wanna get some intermediate, like mid-tone greens on the bushes, see what they look like. So I'm gonna go literally intermediate green, and I'll probably go rain for no. Green skin. Oh, actually, flat green. All right, so intermediate and flat green. Here are my colors. And I'm just going to use the same brush. And we're going to wet dry brush, which is literally just using the bristles of the brush, drag them along the bush. Yeah, that's the one there. So even this little touch of green that I'm adding here, which I'll probably highlight this one more time. This is getting these bushes to closer to what I want them to be. They look a little more vibrant. And then this guy, again, we're just gonna touch the paint on the sides of this coconut fiber. Again, adds a little bit of something to it. Just gives it something to look at, you know? All right. Much better. Cool. I like that. Not that much more. Alrighty. Alright, anyway. If anyone's still in here, thanks for watching. I'm just gonna paint these base rims, and I'm gonna come back to this Lord Solar. But this will all be cut up into a YouTube video. So honestly, if you missed any part of this, it'll be in there. So don't sweat it. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for coming out. Peace.